guesstimate.
Well, look at the wins list. Johnny Hendricks, Carlos Condit. I mean,
Yeah,
Joe set up
crazy.
Eric Silva. On and on it goes. Had 5 wins in 2014, tying Roger Huerta for the most in a calendar year. Then went and fought 5 more times in 2015.
And stopped Hector Lombard when Hector Lombard was knocking people into other dimensions.
And he says that he wants to get back to that, right? Now that he's back fighting, he wants to get back to being active. Because for as active as Lee has been, that's been his calling card.
UFC 2.
While Lee is looking to take him down.
Interesting.
If you were fighting Marco Madsen, you'd be going over the top right there. You don't want that dude on your back. I can't stop thinking about that suplex. It was crazy.
He's so strong. Such good technique. And Lee is trying very, very hard, using a lot of energy here, trying to drag Neil Magny to the ground, and he gets it. Neil right back up to his feet, though. Oh, big right hand on the break.
Oh, he hurt bad.
He hurt him. Lee hurt him real bad with that punch.
Magny retreats.
Look at this.
Magny looking to change levels on the back
Magny's
of
got
the
his
leech.
back.
Nice job by Jing Liang to turn him.
Oh, beautiful.
And this is really where Neil Magny felt like he could impose his will.
It looked like Lee was trying to talk to Keith Peterson. Like he was saying something to the ref.
Lee has got to clear his right arm, man. Neil's wrapped all the way around him. He just gets busy with his left hand. Don't worry about it. Just start punching. If you're Neil Magny, just start punching Lee right now until he gets his hand cleared.
Just over 2 minutes here in what has been a competitive first round.
What I'm seeing so far, the difference is that Neil, as usual, gets off a lot of great volume shots, but when Lee lands,
yes,
he's exploding on him.
And powerful, much more powerful.
Big power.
The Leech looking over to that China top team corner. Zhang Tiatren among those in the corner, the first Chinese person to get to the UFC several years ago. We've seen some steady technical improvements out of the Leech dating to his UFC debut. That was back in 2014.
And we haven't seen Neil in quite a long time, but I'm seeing improvements in his movement. I'm liking these knees to the body here.
Oh, that was a big one.
On cue.
I'm liking the way he's mixing up his strikes, too, and he's hiding his kicks with his punches and his knees with his punches. Lee's struggling real hard for a takedown here. And he gets it. Neil Magny holding on to the right wrist, and Lee gets it free. And oh, look at that. Neil pushes him right off. Very nice.
All right, so a couple takedowns in the round for the Leech. Didn't do anything with that one. Less than 40 seconds now to go in this opening round.
Didn't do anything with him, but they've got to score. If Neil doesn't overwhelm him with volume strikes. Oh, nice. Beautiful job by Magny. That's what I'm talking about, how he's mixing things up so well. Look at that jab. Beautiful jab by Magny.
And then he landed that walking knee right as he had the Leech backed up against the side of the octagon.
Oh, hopping that jab at him.
Magny's fighting beautifully behind that jab right now.
Yeah, beautiful movement.
Magny didn't look rusty at all there. Tonight's Corner Camp brought to you by Body Armor Sports Drink. Superior hydration with no artificial flavors or dyes. Body Armor, the official sports drink of UFC. Grab one today at 7-Eleven.
You're gaining, right? You can feel him fading. He used a lot of energy trying to take you down. He used a lot of energy there. You see he's moving slow now. Keep him on the end of the leash, right? Pick and pull.
So he talked to me with that jab. Watch, hey, jab. Oh, use a choice. Just a jab. You are killing him with that jab.
Right on the clinch. Look at that right hand by Lee. Boom. A lot of it took the forearm, and it hurt Neil Magny. got the leg behind, back step, good trip by Neil Magny. Lee had 2 takedowns in that first round, but honestly, the momentum goes to Magny because at the end of the round, he was really starting to take control, going forward, landing knees, and throwing that beautiful jab over and over, and had Lee going backwards.
Nemiroff, bold character since 1872. All right, here we go, round 2. You heard Cody Donovan perhaps say to Neil Magny, volume's a choice.
Oh, my goodness. I just love how he's keeping him on the end of that jab.
And if Neil Magny's smart, he would get back to range, pop, jab, and let the right hand just set down on him because Lee is not moving his head much to avoid those strikes.
And Lee is using a lot of energy trying to get these takedowns, and so far hasn't really gotten much out of that.
Well, you talk about Magny's improvement. His improvement is not only in the stand-up and the movement, it's also his takedown defense. He covers Lee's head the moment he gets into the clinch, and then he's reversing the position.
Okay, look at this.
Taking him down again.
If it wasn't for the fence, he had that.
And just controlling underhooks on Jingliang right now.
Also, Neil Magny always has this advantage in cardio. His work ethic is just unquestionable. And his cardio is always there. He always knows that he can push it.
Yeah.
When guys start to fade, he starts to hit the gas. And he's doing that right now. Look, Lee is getting boxed up here inside the clinch, hit with big shots. And Neil's just swarming on him.
The Leach better be careful he doesn't grab that fence again, or he might get docked a point. A couple warnings, 3 from Keith Peterson. The law has limits. They don't. See Mark Wahlberg in the Netflix film Spencer Confidential. Watch it now on Netflix.
Notice Neil immediately cover his head, right? So not only is he defending takedowns, he's got Lee now just carried his weight. Oh, he got a full power driver. I thought he got the power driver. Oh, my goodness.
Bob Sapp and Nogueira.
That's illegal, right?
It's illegal here. In Pride, I don't think it was illegal.
Oh, man.
It was one of the most brutal fights ever. Bob Sapp and Nogueira. Bob Sapp was 375 pounds with abs.
And when he cared.
And he
when
piled
Bob Sapp cared,
Nogueira.
right?
Yes,
Bob
Sapp cared.
He was scary, man.
Oh, he was terrifying.
Patrick Cote, Nate Marquardt comes to mind as well. Magny, though, unable to finish the technique. Less than 3 minutes now in the round.
I think more than anything, he was just looking to get into a better position.
Nice shoulder strike there by Neil Magny.
He looks fantastic.
You're right, though, Joe. You parlay the work ethic with the altitude training.
Yes.
Tough.
And you got to think Neil Magny would work harder, right?
Yes.
Because he said against Santiago Ponzinibbio, he was not happy with his preparation. Not that he didn't work hard, but he wasn't prepared for everything. Wasn't ready to make adjustments. And he heard Ponzinibbio's corner saying stuff like what to throw, where he was going to be, and he was fighting on cue to what they had saw.
Beautiful takedown by Magny. Again, Magny just overwhelming Lee, overwhelming him with volume, overwhelming him with strikes and technique and endurance. Neil Magny can do this for days. He's not going to get tired in a 3-round fight.
And this is what Neil wanted to show, right? He's better today, better prepared today than he was the last time he stepped in the octagon. And it's showing.
It really is. This is as good as he's ever looked. And I think he probably felt a little disrespected by the Vegas odd makers.
Yeah. Well, and it's crazy to think that Santiago Ponzinibbio fight that you referenced, DC, his 20th UFC fight. He did more learning in that fight than really any prior. Just was frustrated he didn't have answers. He's got a lot of answers for the Leech tonight.
Look at that jab.
Just overwhelming.
Well, he keeps his arms extended, and he's really only popping that jab out a foot or so. His arms are already extended, but it just pops him in the face, and he's just got great timing with it. And then again, back to this relentless clinch attack that really drains Lee.
Yeah, 6'3" with an 80-inch reach at welterweight's unfair. Final minute of round 2.
But again, just stuffing the head, keeping it in the middle, keeping all of his weight on top of Lee.
It forces Lee to sit up because of those elbows. Had to get out of there. And look.
If you're Team Magny, though, you want him to start trying to find an underhook. But if you're Lee, you got to change it up. Single legs and double legs haven't worked so far. So maybe throw in some trips. Maybe get to the body lock.
Oh, beautiful.
Flying knee just missed. That one didn't.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Neil Magny is on fire.
Neil Magny.
And now a takedown for good measure.
Into full mount.
Hey, Neil Magny is outclassing him.
He's on fire. He's on fire. He is on fire. Amazing. That's as good as he's ever looked.
I agree.
And let's take a look at some of that. Look, just beating him up from inside the clinch and just overwhelming him with pressure and with clinch work. And here's a beautiful takedown by Magny. Lifts him up, knee. And this is, I mean, Lee's trying to move his head, but the volume that Neil Magny's putting on him, right hand, left hand, stays on him. Gets the takedown, boom, drops him down, steps right into mount, right at the end of the round. Huge round for Neil Magny. And look at Lee, exhausted.
Do you understand? Do you understand? Let's go, Lee.
Okay?
Hit him harder.
Round 3 is brought to you by P3, the official protein snack of UFC. When we sat down with Magny on Thursday, he was jumping out of his skin with excitement, and I think it dovetails with the effort you're seeing here tonight. He was just so excited to channel that layoff into a good result tonight, and he's putting it all together.
And look at him, he's bouncing on his toes before the beginning of the third round, whereas Lee is, you know, I mean, he's fighting his heart out, no doubt about it, but he's being outworked and outclassed here. But what he still has, what Lee still has, is game-changing power and gameness, the willingness to throw that game-changing power at the risk of losing a fight. I mean, he's not going to play it safe, and he's doing that right now.
And that's the last thing to go. No matter how tired they are, they can still land when they got that power like that. Because Neil Magny can hit him 100 times. It only takes Lee one. And he knows that.
Unofficially, Magny has outstruck the lead 75-17. The significant strikes 48-14.
You look at Lee now. Now he's the one going forward. That's what he has to do. He's got to get Neil Magny fighting going backwards.
That jab is so pretty.
8.5 inches the difference in reach, as we highlighted off the top. Oh. Magny wisely backs up to avoid some of that Jing Liang power. Good level change from Magny.
He's got to get his hands locked.
Couldn't get it.
Nice job by Lee, facing his underhook, circling towards it, moving and changing the position. Now he's got Magny's back. Magny needs to try to fight the hands, fight the lock, and try to get his hip out.
Good head movement by Lee. Still, even the third round of a fight where he's getting kind of overwhelmed, he's still using good defense and trying to present a difficult-to-hit target.
Well, I'd like to see what Neil Magny's highest ranking ever was in the welterweight division, because then you can tell, like, where Lee is in terms of his career trajectory right now. He's a bit behind. He seems to be outclassed. But at one point, Neil Magny had to be a top 5 welterweight in the UFC.
The thing about Neil Magny, and I can't stress this enough, although I have too many times already, he just doesn't fade. He doesn't fade.
Yeah.
He knows the pace that he can keep up, and he can keep that pace up exactly the same pace through the entire 15 minutes of a 3-round fight. And that's a giant advantage.
Well, he was top 10 DC for much of 2017. Go ahead, Jay.
The one thing that Lee can look to is when Neil's throwing his jab now, his hands are kind of coming back to his chest instead of back to his face. If Lee can time an overhand right, he might be able to put him up.
And let's also not forget, Magny's got UFC main event experience at altitude, 5 rounds with Gastelum. You know, this is a credentialed UFC welterweight.
Yes.
Which is, again, why I was shocked at the odds makers.
It's what have you done for me lately, right? He's been gone for a while.
Sometimes I want those guys, just call me, man. I don't think you're looking at this one right.
Well, ultimately, they're trying to get action on both sides of the fight, and the line didn't move too much.
Well, I guarantee you, if Neil Magny can fight this way for the next minute and 17 seconds, next odds are going to be very different.
Yep.
Yes. Now,
Look at this.
he's got his wrist again. He needs to drive him forward to flatten him out a little bit. He needs to flatten Lee out if he's going to get busy. There it is. Start to flatten him out. Now he can get busy with his left hand.
He's doing a nice job of tying up Lee's legs, holding him in this position. Look how he's got that.
He's got
his
that wrist.
legs triangle around that one leg. He's got like a lockdown from the top almost.
I mean, he is battering. He is battering Lee right now.
And he's going to get to mount again. He's going to step over. Oh, no, he's going to take the back. But, like, give credit to Lee because he is not giving up.
No.
He has to know he's far behind in this fight. But he's not giving up. He's just getting overwhelmed and outclassed.
And once again, we're back here, right? Damn! He grabs that wrist, and that forces Lee to react. If Lee doesn't, he gets beat up.
Oh, right in the butt.
And that's just Neil Magny working, Joe. Like you said, good working.
Oh, my goodness. He's just going off. Look at this. Neil Magny. And again, look, like the fight just started. Not even a little tired.
What a performance for the returning Neil Magny. About as
Fantastic.
efficient and dominant a performance as he has turned in. And to your point, Joe, maybe the best we've ever seen out of Neil Magny. This fight replay brought to you by Nemirov, bold character since 1872.
Right here, you see Lee in the clinch, land that big right hand, and then he got a takedown in the first round. But honestly, that ended up being the highlight of his fight, because from that point on, Neil Magny dominated every second of this fight. Takedowns, striking, clinch beating, knees, whatever he was doing was working. And he hurt Lee on multiple occasions, especially at the end of the second round. But I mean, it was just all Neil Magny. And for a guy that's been away for as long as he's been, this has to feel good. You get to the third round, more the same, more takedowns, more jabs, more right hands, and now the beautiful ground and pound by Neil Magny. This was about as good as it gets for a guy that's been gone for a while.
Former All-Army Combatives champion, National Guard sergeant in the U.S. Army, was training heavily when he was deployed overseas, and likely tonight has produced, remarkably, his 15th UFC win. Now, with the official decision, Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for decision. All 3 judges score this contest 30-27 for the winner by unanimous decision, Neil Magny.